From day one, the software made for Macintosh has always been more logical, more creative, more useful than what other computers had to settle for. Macintosh applications are intuitive. Menu commands are simple to understand and do just what they say. Macintosh software is also consistent. That means the same functions are performed in the same way from application to application. So once you've learned your first Macintosh application, you already know much of what it'll take to learn any of more than 3,000 other titles. And only Macintosh lets you freely combine text, graphics, and data from all those different applications. So the types of work you produce are only limited by your imagination, not by your software.
Windows was supposed to introduce consistency to the DOS-based world. But even Microsoft's own applications, designed specifically for Windows, have inconsistencies that can easily confuse users. For instance, selecting a word and pressing the backspace key executes a delete command for PowerPoint in Windows. But in Word for Windows, it moves the cursor to the beginning of the word. And in Excel for Windows, it moves the cursor back one space. By contrast, on the Macintosh, even in very different applications from competitive developers, a delete is a delete is a delete. So once you learn one Macintosh application, you're well on your way to learning all the others. Every Macintosh sold today comes with built-in plugs and system software to support local talk networking and sound capabilities. The SCSI connector, another standard feature on every Macintosh, illustrates how easy it is to build a complete computer system with the Macintosh. You can use the SCSI port to connect a wide variety of peripherals, hard drives, CD-ROM drives, a scanner to your Macintosh in seconds just by plugging them in. And you can have all these devices connected to your Macintosh without using a single expansion slot. This gives you the flexibility to add a second or even a third monitor. And because the Macintosh is configured to treat multiple monitors as a single large display, you can use all of these monitors simultaneously. What happens when you try to configure a DOS system with the same peripherals? Because DOS-based systems generally have no built-in SCSI ports, you must first buy costly interface cards for the peripherals. Then, once you've opened the computer and installed the cards, you have to run time-consuming installation programs because DOS systems can't recognize the hardware without your help. So, what happens when you want to install additional monitors? Forget it! The computer can't handle more than one monitor at a time.
Because Apple creates both the hardware and system software that go into Macintosh, we've had complete freedom to expand its capabilities in ways that captured the world's imagination. For instance, the Apple Laser Writer and the birth of desktop publishing. Multifinder, which brought multitasking into the hands of people who couldn't afford expensive workstations. HyperCard, a breakthrough in end-user programming and multimedia control. Connectivity solutions for digital, IBM, and other network standards. And AUX, which combines the capabilities of Unix with the simplicity of Macintosh. Yet as fast and as far as Macintosh has grown, it's never outgrown the people who own one. Because of its unique open architecture, a Macintosh bought today, last month, or even years ago will continue to take advantage of exciting new technologies and innovations that lie ahead. Innovations in technology. Innovations in worldwide networking. Innovations in breakthrough software ideas. And innovations in power.
At Apple, we enjoy teaching old applications new tricks. Because we build both the hardware and the operating system, we can carefully plan system upgrades to minimize their impact on existing systems and software. Users with a copy of Multiplan purchased in 1984, for example, can not only still use their software, they can display their work on large color monitors, cut and paste information with more recent applications, produce laser prints, and share information over a network, even though none of these existed when this version of Multiplan first appeared. And this flexibility is true of any application that followed the guidelines established by Apple for software developers. In Windows, you get a very different reaction. An application compatibility warning that reads in part, "You might encounter compatibility problems that could cause the application or Windows to terminate unexpectedly." The intuitive Macintosh user environment reveals another key advantage of Apple's integrated hardware and operating system. Where Macintosh gives you the freedom to call your files and folders whatever you like, Windows can only accept DOS file names with 8 characters or less, which forces you to create your own version of computer code. Where Macintosh lets you arrange your icons any way you want, File Manager icons are locked into the DOS directory tree, which prevents you from arranging them in the way that suits you best. And where the Macintosh can respond when you make a physical change to the system, like inserting a disk, Windows isn't connected so closely to the hardware. So when you put a diskette into a DOS-based PC, it doesn't notice until you tell the machine that the disk is there. Even worse, when we remove our first diskette, insert a new one, and try to look for a file, Windows displays the old disk's directory on the screen, which forces us to use a new command, refresh Windows, just to look at the files that are actually in the drive. Macintosh does all this automatically.
Now that you know how Macintosh makes it easier to work with the computer on your desk, let's talk about how Macintosh makes it easier to work with all those computers that aren't on your desk. It all starts with AppleTalk, a sophisticated networking system that's already built into every Macintosh. You can use AppleTalk to build a network of more than 16 million connections in all, bringing together Macintosh computers, PCs running DOS and OS/2, mainframes, and mini-computers. Every Macintosh also features the Apple SuperDrive, a disk drive that reads information from DOS, OS/2, and Apple II computers. So if you're wondering what you're going to do with all your 1, 2, 3 files after you switch to Macintosh, the answer is simple: more than you've ever done before. A computer to be considered powerful, it has to be fast. And Macintosh is fast, usually much faster model for model than other leading PCs when it comes to running graphics-based software. But the vision behind Macintosh isn't just to make computers more powerful, it's to make people more powerful. So when you're using a Macintosh, it feels less like working at a machine and more like working at a desk, with all your papers, folders, and everyday tools right there in front of you. All of which means that anyone who can do this can now do this, and this, and this, and this, and just about anything else that comes to mind.